What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I'm joined by Nick, and we're here to give our best skills for God of War. So these are going to kind of be a mix, not only of different skills in general of the different categories, but also ones that you can kind of buy early on, also later on. So just the ones that we find to be our favorites. We're going to try and give one or two of each of the categories and go from there, and Nick and I are going to bounce back and forth and explain which ones we choose. So the first thing we want to quickly talk about is in the ranged combat section. There is the freezing throw. It's something that you're going to unlock very, very early. The game kind of makes you do it for a tutorial, and really the things that come after it are pretty powerful in terms of actually charging up. Nick and I actually do that quite often as we charge up our axe throws, and it's a good way of fighting. I talked about that briefly in the tips and tricks, but this first one, the freezing throw, is kind of something the game makes you get. Very important. Can basically freeze an enemy, but not something that you wouldn't know to get just off the bat.
All right, the next important skills that you're going to want to unlock right away is in the close combat category. Now, the majority of the game is close combat, so you could understand how that's really important. The first one is the very first skill in the category. It's the Executioner's Cleave. It's basically just a charging heavy attack, and this is really useful if you want to like single out one enemy, or you have a powerful enemy that has a lot of health and you really need to do like a hit that goes through their block and stuns them. The next one we found that was really helpful passively is the Permafrost. Every hit you get with the axe without being hit by an enemy or taking any damage, it gives you more and more frost damage each hit up to the max. It doesn't tell you what the max is, but frost damage is very important in damaging most of the enemies in the game.
In the shield combat, the first one that you see is block break, and it's pretty important to get this early. Nick and I actually didn't really get this early, but then as soon as we got it, we realized just how good it was. Maybe not necessarily for the block break itself, but really for the next two. Encountering strike and countering crush. They're very, very good. It kind of goes back to the God of War that you know all about. If when you block and you can immediately hit back whatever the enemy gives you. Those are very, very important if you plan your blocks out well enough. These are definitely very devastating. We don't have the one where you can send a blast back at, but that's obviously another one that's in that category. So the entire blocking category of shield combat is extremely useful.
The next two skills are in the rage combat tree. Most importantly, Fury Strike. It allows you to do a bunch of hits really close together. You'll find out how useful it is the first time you use it. It really adds damage on to single enemies that you need. And the other first skill in the rage combat category, the Raging Smash, is very good because it allows you to do an area of effect.
And finally, we have really the last two, the magic combat and the expert combat. For magic, Nick and I are not exactly sure when we're going to unlock this, but we've played it for a good amount of hours and we still haven't unlocked it. Not to say that these are not important or they won't become important, but you do not unlock them early on, and I don't see the reason why you would wait for points to unlock them. Rather, kind of, put your points into what's going to matter. And speaking of things that matter, that are cheap, is these expert ones, the three of them: teamwork, acrobatics, and ferocity. Now, this is Atreus's category, and it really makes him more of a vital character. You can see that he stuns enemies, he'll jump on enemies and stab them, which slows them down and allows Kratos to attack them. So these really make Atreus much more powerful. It makes him more part of the battle, and they're really cheap. They're 500 points, so they're really, really inexpensive. You can buy 3 of these for the same price you can buy any of the other skills we've actually talked about. So let us know in the comments below what you guys think of our skills. What skills would you recommend to other people to get early on in the game? Obviously, these are not all the skills that we have, but these are just some that you can get early on in the game that would also help you as you're progressing in the story. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you're here for the giveaway, leave a comment to win the game. Nick and I are going to have more videos as the week goes on and more live streams as we finish God of War. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next God of War video.